Alright, this is the first video of 2026 and we had to start with a bang because it's time that we lock in and we stop playing and we become aware and we do what it really takes to make changes in our lives. So we're going to talk about frequency. A lot of people, most people, are just living life. They're just doing things unconsciously. They are just so unaware of how important every decision that they're making has over their life. And a lot of people don't see things from a spiritual level and understanding that we are all vibrating at a frequency. We either are at a low frequency or we are at a high frequency. And to some people, it may not matter or they don't think it's that deep, but it really is that deep. So I'm going to give you guys 7 areas of your life to look at, to reflect, to make changes on that kind of dictate what frequency you're on. And the thing is, there are so many more areas of your life that you can pay attention to, but these are the 7 that I really wanted to just touch on for a split second, bring you guys some awareness and just open up your minds to seeing, how your habits and your actions are really affecting your frequency. So this video is about how to detect what frequency you're on. And right now there are different layers of this, but we're just talking about when we're distinguishing between a low frequency and a high frequency. When you're at a low frequency, you're not getting things done, you're in a negative mindset, you are not making any progress, you're stuck, you are maybe overthinking. But basically, low frequency, you're not producing any fruit. High frequency, you're producing fruit, you're at peace, you're joyful, you are manifesting, you are creating the life that you want, you are treating people well, you're healing. That is high frequency. So there's a distinction between low frequency and high frequency. So as I go through this list, you guys can kind of think about your life and help you decide what frequency that you predominantly operate out of on a daily basis. So let's jump right into it. All right, number 1. This is something that you can use to detect what frequency you're on. Your Explore/For You page. Explore page on Instagram, For You page on TikTok. If your Explore pages, your Discover pages, when you go to search for something, or your timeline, if your page has drama, fights, drugs, celebrities, naked men, naked women, violence, crime, all negative things, shade room, celebrity gossip. If your For You page has those things, that's telling you that that's what you're searching, that's what you're clicking on, that's what you're sending to other people, that's what you're watching, that's what you're listening to. That's the frequency that you're on. Because what you do frequently becomes your frequency. So if you're always searching those things, that's what's going to come up on your For You page and on your Explore page. So on the flip side of that, if on your For You page you see healthy meal ideas, workouts, affirmations, motivational videos, sermons, you're seeing Bible scriptures, you're seeing financial plans, you're seeing investing plans, you're seeing stuff about manifestations and quantum leaps, things of that nature, whatever you're researching and learning about, you see things about business, anything to help you grow, that's the frequency that you're on, because what you do frequently becomes your frequency. That's what you're searching all the time. That's what you want to learn more about. That's what you want to see more. So from that standpoint, you're seeing that you're operating at a high frequency. So a very simple way to figure out what frequency you're on is to go to your For You page. And if you want to change it, what do you have to do? Change what you're searching, change what you're watching, change what you're listening to, input new things. And that is a very simple way to change your frequency and change what you are consuming most of the time. So your Explore page and For You page is a way to determine what your frequency is on. And I'm gonna give you guys a real example. This is my Instagram page right now. This is an influencer that I follow. If you go to my search button, what do you see? I'm going to take a screenshot of it and I'm going to put it on the screen. This is what you guys will see when you go to my For You page. But we have recipes, clean carb recipes. I want you guys to see this. I'm still going to put it up on my screen, but I just want y'all to see it right now. Sorry about the glare. Signs you're called but afraid to be seen. Harvard rules that permanently change how you think. 10 micro habits that will heal your nervous system. All type of recipes. Girls working out. Let go of the offense. That's what you see on my For You page. 52 fun hobbies to try in 2026. Even if you go to my, what is this called? My homepage. Repetition rewires the brain. The people that I follow, all you see is a lot of quotes. Okay? This shows you guys what my frequency is. This is what I search all the time. That lets you know that I'm always finding a way or looking for a way to grow. Some new habits, some new ways to rewire my brain, some neuroplasticity facts, some new meals to try, new healthy meals, new ways to kind of cut fat, or, you know, there isn't really a new way. It's just a scientific way. Eat less than you burn. So check out your Explore page. That will tell you what frequency you're on. Next thing, your conversations when you talk to people, whether it's your partner, your parents, your friends, your coworkers. What are you guys talking about predominantly? I will say, what I talk about at work is totally different from what I talk about at home, because the frequency of my environment at work, they're all pretty much low level. Hate to say it. At least that's how they show up at work. But most of the time, how people show up is a clear indication of their energy anyway. When I go to work, people know I'm going to be on time. They know that I'm not here for the nonsense. They know I'm here to work. They know I go by the rules. They know that I have integrity. So that's the frequency that I'm omitting. A lot of people don't operate out of that energy when they come to work. But the conversations are a big thing too. You know, my coworkers, they may want to talk about some BS. They might ask me about different music tastes, different celebrities. I don't have much to say to them because that's not the frequency that I operate out of. I don't keep up with celebrities. I don't talk about celebrities. When it comes to your parents, what are y'all talking about? Are y'all gossiping? When you talk to your friends and your cousins, or is it about drama? It's about, you know, what this family member did or said. Or is it the other way around? When you're talking to your family, you may discuss some issues that may be going on, but you may be trying to figure out some solutions. Maybe you have business ideas that you talk about, financial goals. You know, with this new year beginning, maybe y'all are talking about some of the goals that y'all have set. Y'all talk about the vision boards that y'all have made. Me and my husband, all we have is high level conversations. Me and him, listen, we spitting out fire all day, every day when we're around each other. So be very mindful of your conversations and take a look at that. If you're always talking about the shade room, low level. If you're always talking about this certain family member, low level. This certain coworker, low level. But on the flip side, if you're talking about your goals, if you're talking about something that you just learned, if you're talking about something that you want to try, you're talking about some new hobbies you want to get into, those are high level. Those are things that produce fruit. Those are things that will help you to grow and just keep you operating at a high frequency. And it's not to say that sometimes you won't have to talk about the crazy stuff that's going on, because you will. We live in a crazy world. Humans are crazy. You will have to discuss some of those things that are going on. But it's about how you're doing it and how often you're doing it that determines what frequency you're on. Next thing that help you detect what frequency you're on is the people you are around. Me personally, you will never see me around a lot of people. It's usually just me and my husband. We don't have a lot of friends right now. We're in the season of getting ourselves together, but we are in the business or in the season of trying to cultivate some new friendships. So we're taking our time. We're hanging out with different people to see if we resonate with each other, if we're aligned, or, you know, things of that nature. But when it comes to me specifically, I don't have a lot of friends. I have maybe, I would say, about 3 close friends. But do we talk every day? No, we do not. And when we do talk, what are we talking about? So who are you around? I have family members. I love them to death. I can't be around them all the time. They love to drink. They love to smoke hookah. They love going to the club. That's not the frequency that I'm on. That's not how I operate. So I'm not around them all the time. But just imagine if I was, because they have a friend group. They're always around each other. So they all do the same things. So that's the frequency that they're going to be on. Is that to say that I'm better or worse than they are? No, but I know what frequency I want to be on. And it's not the frequency of going to the club and dealing with the chaos that comes with that. So Pay attention to who you hang around. Like I said, for me, if I'm not at work, I'm with my husband. I see my family every now and then, but pretty much I'm a loner. I love doing things by myself. I love solo dates. I love going to the store and things by myself. I don't always feel like I need people to do things. So right now my circle is very small because I'm very intentional and I'm very specific about who I'm around. And so if you want to know what your frequency is like, look at the people that you hang around the most. Are you around people that like to drink and party? Are you around people that's always in some drama? Are you around people who are trying to get somewhere in life? Every time you see them, they're working on their business. They're talking about their business. They are talking about how they're going to level up at work, how they want to level up their relationship, how they're going to the gym, how they're eating healthy. Pay attention to the people that you are around. That will tell you what frequency that you're on. Your environment. So this can be your car, this can be your home, this can be your workspace. If your environment, this is very like black and white. If your environment is messy, if it's cluttered, if it's not organized, your frequency is probably at a lower level. And that's not to say that you're not operating at a high level all the time. It just means that maybe you're having a little bit of a stressful day, a stressful week, and it's time for you to reel it back in and kind of get back into that space where your mind is clear. Because I always feel like when your space is not clear, when it's messy, when it's, like I said, cluttered, it's usually a reflection of how you're feeling on the inside. So maybe you're overworking yourself. Maybe you're just stressed out about things that's going on in your personal life. Maybe work is just driving you crazy. Maybe you're just having some relationship problems and it's really just affecting your mental state. So you're just not really caring to pick up after yourself. It's always important to pay attention to the fact that your physical environment is a reflection of how you feel on the inside. So that means that you may be operating at a lower frequency, and that's okay. Sometimes you need to just kind of take a step back, maybe take a day or so to just woosah, to just bed rot. Life is crazy, and that's something that we can't deny. But if you do it frequently, that's a sign that, maybe you got some energy leaks somewhere. So pay attention to your environment. Pay attention to your space. Is your space usually clean? Are you pretty good about washing your clothes, doing the dishes, cleaning out the dishwasher, wiping off counters, not having books and things everywhere? It's a reflection of whether you're operating at a low level or if you're operating at a high level. Your habits. So what people don't know about habits is that your habits are what you do unconsciously. So that's why it's very important that you build healthy habits, because you want to do the healthy things without even thinking. You want to choose the water over the soda. You want to naturally choose the fruit over the junk food. You want to naturally choose the working out over the bed rotting. You want to do these things without even thinking. So your habits are a very, very, very clear indication of what your frequency is. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is pull out your phone and scroll on Instagram, low level frequency, period. That's one of the worst things that you can do in this day and age, is to pick up your phone. Because the thing about it, 9.5 times out of 10, if you're scrolling on social media first thing in the morning, you are not creating anything, which means you're what? Consuming what other people are doing. You're worried about what other people are doing. You're checking in on the world instead of checking in with yourself and checking in with God. Operating at a low frequency. Pay attention to your habits. Pay attention to what you do easily. Your habits is all over the place. From when you're at work, do you take lunch to work, or is your habit that you buy food every time you work? You Uber Eat or DoorDash food to work, or you leave work and go to Chick-fil-A every time you go on break? What time are you going to bed? What time are you waking up in the morning? Are you hitting the snooze button? After every time you eat, are you always wanting something sweet immediately after? Are you always turning on a TV show when you get home from work? What do you do unconsciously without even thinking? That will tell you what your habits are. On the flip side of that, do you have a habit of every time you get paid, you put money into your savings account, into an investment account? When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is drink a glass of water. When you go to the gym, you listen to high-level content instead of toxic music. Before you go to bed, you read 10 pages instead of scrolling on TikTok for 2 hours. What are those things that you're doing unconsciously? And that will tell you what frequency you're on. Like I said, you will not be perfect at anything in life, but there is a way to get in alignment and there is a way to get at a frequency where you're creating, where you're fruitful, where you're joyful, where you're truly at peace, versus being on the flip side of that. So pay attention to your habits. They will tell you if you're operating at a low level or if you're operating at a high level. Your physical health. So this also just goes into more of habits. Your physical health will tell you what frequency you're operating out of. If you're not eating well and you're not moving your body, automatic low frequency, especially 100% if you're able-bodied. If you are able to go to the gym, whether you got to get up early or go after work, if you are able to cook your own meals, if you are able to go to the grocery store, or even you have the financial stability to get orders sent to your house, if you're not eating healthy but you have all of these abilities, if you're not working out, you have all of these abilities, low level, period. We are not at a day and time where we know that what we eat and our movement levels are a clear indication of our health issues. If you have certain illnesses, if you have certain diseases, a lot of that is correlated to whether you are eating healthy or not. So if you are someone who's always drinking alcohol, you are never going to the gym, you're not exercising, you're sedentary, you sit down all day, every day. Your job is causing you to sit down all day, every day. So you're not doing any type of exercise outside of that either. If you are eating junk food every single day, if you're not eating any home cooked meals, you're eating out every day. Low level frequency. We have to take control of our health. Although some things we really can't control, there is a lot that we can control. Weight management is one of those things that sometimes takes trial and error depending on your body, your hormones, things of that nature. It is something that you can have some control over. So if you want to know what level you're on, what frequency you're on, pay attention to what you're putting into your body and whether you're getting movement in or not. Because if you're not getting movement in, what are you doing instead? Are you sitting in bed all day? Are you sitting down all day? Are you choosing to go do other things that are not important instead of going to the gym? Did you say you're going to go to the gym Monday, but then instead your girlfriend call you and say, hey girl, let's go to brunch. And you choose brunch over going to the gym? That tells you what frequency that you're on. Y'all, it really is that serious. I don't care what people say. Life is that serious. And if you don't take it serious, you're just going to end up being like the rest of the sheep. You're going to end up living the life that your parents live, your grandparents, things of that nature, your friends. If you're watching my content, you want to be at a high level. You are wanting to live your best life. You are wanting to live a life that is pleasing to God, that is high level, that is fruitful. So you have to be intentional about the things that I'm mentioning in this video. And then lastly, if you want to know what frequency you're on, pay attention to your predominant thoughts. Are you fearful? Are you overthinking? Do you have analysis paralysis? Do you have a negative self-image about yourself? Are you always thinking negative? If you're doing any of these things most of the day, if you're thinking any of these thoughts most of your day, unfortunately, sadly, you're operating at a low level. And it's time that you do inner work. All of these things that I mentioned are correlated to what's going on the inside. Negative thoughts are all about how you feel internally. If you are scared to try things, it's because you don't trust yourself, you don't believe in yourself. That means it's time to do some inner work. If you are always overthinking everything, if you are someone who never takes action, you need to do some inner work. You're operating at a low level, and there's some things that needs to be addressed. So on the flip side of that, if you are very confident in yourself, you believe in yourself, you put action behind thought, you're thinking positively, you're grateful, you have a lot of gratitude, you know how to find solutions, you see the good in things even when someone else sees them as bad, you know how to turn negatives into positives, you're operating at a higher level. So it's very important that you pay attention to your thoughts, because what you do frequently becomes your frequency. If you are consistently thinking negatively, you're going to produce negative fruit. You're not even going to produce any fruit because your mind is just such in a pessimistic state. You don't even have what it takes to make changes, to make progress, to get out of that stuck position. If you're always thinking about the past, you're definitely going to stay stuck. You're never going to make progress. You're never going to make any change. If your mind is always going into this loop of being negative, of being toxic, of seeing the problem in everything instead of being someone who is a solution-based person, someone who could turn negative into positive, someone who can believe in yourself and in other people. So we're going to go back down the list. These are the 7 areas of your life that you can look at to become aware of your frequency so that you can make changes. Your explore page. When you go hit the search engine, what comes up? Your conversations. What are you specifically talking about with your loved ones, with your friends, at work, on social media? What are you talking about? Who are you around? Are you around people that are trying to do better, or people who are staying stuck, staying distracted, not trying to make real, everlasting progress? Your environment. Is your car clean? Is your home clean? Is your closet clean and organized? Is your bookshelf clean and organized? What does all that look like? Are the dishes full? Is there a lot of trash in your house? What does your environment look like? What are your habits? Are you scrolling every chance you get? Are you eating junk food every chance you get? Are you calling people every time you have any moment of silence because you don't want to be alone? Are you skipping the gym? Are you going to the gym? Are you sticking to your routines? What does your habits look like? Your physical health. Are you moving your body? Are you going for walks? Are you cooking meals at home? Are you eating out? Are you eating desserts after every single meal? Are you eating chips while you're working? Are you drinking water? Are you drinking all the alcohol? What does your physical health look like? What are your thoughts? Do you think negatively? Do you think positively? Are you grateful? Are you at peace? Are you joyful? Are you stuck on the past? Are you worried? Are you overthinking? What are your thoughts? What do you think about consistently, predominantly? What you do frequently becomes your frequency. What you do frequently becomes your frequency. All right. That's all I got to say. We're going into a new year. It's just January the 6th. It's time to make changes. And the only way to make changes is first to become aware of where you are and where you've been. Start there and then start making small, consistent changes, because what you do frequently becomes your frequency. If you want to operate at a high level, you have to do what high level people do. If you don't want to be low level, stop doing what low level people do. All right. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.